Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside. Come inside. It's your boy Dusty over here on the fabulous West Coast. San Jose, California. It's such a beautiful, gorgeous, sunny day. And I was ahead of schedule on getting the show set up, so we went out for lunch. Me and the wonderful Amy went out, got some lunch, picked up some stuff for dinner, and she's making a gorgeous meatloaf tonight. Meatloaf and potatoes. Nom, 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 nom. Yummy, yummy, yummy. But you're not here. I know you're not here to find out what I'm having for dinner. I know you're not here to find out what I'm eating for dinner. Not even what the weather is like. We could use some rain, guys. Cloudsdale? Rain. We could use some rain. Bring it. But you're here to meet one fabulous writer of titillating stories, Mr. Pen Stroke. Mr. Pen, are you available?
Yes.
Yes. How are you doing?
I am doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Welcome to the program. I know it's been a while since I think anybody's actually interviewed you. So we get to find out new projects that you've been working on, everything that's going on, and get your 2 cents on writing and fan fiction and all that other great, wonderful stuff. But first and foremost, the first question we ask every guest that comes on this program is this. What are some of the cartoons and comics you watched as a kid or are still watching to this day?
Well, as a child, I did enjoy the classic Cartoon Network fare of Dexter's Laboratory. Yes. And, I seem to recall some of Nickelodeon's fare as well, like Hey Arnold. Didn't read as many comics just because I grew up in a small town in Wyoming, 5,000 people, so there wasn't really a comic book store or anything like that. But a comic I have been reading as of late that I'm really enjoying is Death Vigil.
Ooh, okay.
Which is the first solo effort of a artist on DA I was following and whatnot. The last issue in the standalone series is actually due out this coming August, so it's almost done.
Which comic imprint is he being published on?
I think it's Top Cow.
Top Cow. Top Cow's decent. Yeah, Top Cow's decent for an independent. Absolutely. So that's awesome. Good for him. Cool. Let's talk about some essentials. Let's talk about the Essential Writer's Toolbox. Right? What do you think a good writer should have in their toolbox that they need to actually be, above average?
Fingers.
I
do believe we want to go a little bit higher,
deeper. We're looking for deep stuff here, Pen. Deep.
Well, something I find that helps, that is like the essentials I need to actually get words out on the page is. Sometimes you really do need the inspiration. You may want to write a particular story about the grand event. It's like I love using this metaphor of I want to tell the epic adventure across multiple lands of Spike getting an ice cream cone.
Yeah, there you go.
But the desire alone to write a particular kind of story is not usually sufficient when you don't know what you're going to have happen in that story. So you kind of need that kernel of inspiration to really to not only be the driving force and all that stuff, and then you kind of also need to figure out what style of writing works best for you. I mean, you will have people telling you college classes don't know what to teach you, like you must outline, you must know these characters, you must ask them questions, you must have this pile of documentation that's 3 feet high.
Yes.
Having spoken with K-Cat before, I think on the subject, just because it came up in a discussion, she had an outline of her own that was kind of a timeline, I think, if I'm remembering it correctly. That was points that she wanted to hit, and she would add points into the timeline as she did, and but for me, I prefer more to shoot from the hip, because then I get surprised by what I have happen in the story on my own, and then that gets me excited, and I can shoot more from the hip, and then it's just a bullet shelled side of a barn making Apple Jacks at. But
there you go.
But it's like figuring out the style that really suits you when it comes to actually getting words on the page, whether it's doing it every day for an hour from 5 to 6 or whatever time suits you, or just trying to get it when you're in the mood and whatnot. it's like every person is different, thus every person will have a little different style of what works best for them.
Oh, cool. Okay, you hit on that a little bit in that little diatribe that you just gave us, but I'm using big words. When you go about laying out a new story, brand new, what's the process? What comes first?
Well, generally the idea will come first, and then I'll let it kind of ruminate in my head a bit, because it's like, oh, I have this great idea for a Despicable Me crossover. That's actually one I've been wanting to write, because I am a...
No more Minions, please.
No, not the Minions. I like Gru and the girls more than I like the Minions.
Oh my god. Enough with the Minions.
No, definitely like Gru and the girls more than the Minions.
Yes.
But then it's like, you have to I personally then have to let it ruminate a while to figure out, okay, if I want to do this, what is the plot line, and does that plot line catch my interest? Otherwise, I will not be able to get myself to write 10 words about it that are of reasonable length and merit.
That's cool.
And after that, I tend to... It's like some people start writing their stories at the juicy bits and then try to fill in the parts in between. It's like, oh, I'm going to write this climax, and I'm going to write this super fight scene, and I'm going to write this kissing scene, then I'll try to string it all together. Okay. I have tried that. That backfires on me so horribly. Oh, really? Because it's like, oh, I wrote this great scene. Okay, now I'm going to lead up to it. Da-da-da-da-da-da. I have written this great lead-up that I like, and now this part does not fit together with this part. I cannot put this round peg in this square hole. Ah! I must rewrite it again. Yeah, so I'm one of those that tends to try to write from beginning to end without skipping around too much. Wow, that is a difficult way to do things. And then, as the final kind of step in the process for me, it's to get other eyes on it, which is always very important, because before you release something into the public wild, you do want to kind of want to at least have one other person. For me, that person has been for a while Illustrious Q, who was one of the forefathers of the Past Sins print, and he's kind of my first pass gut checker, and then I have a shifting group of people that I use for a second pass before it ever gets onto Fanfiction. Cool. When building a character, right? I know that you play mostly in the MLP universe, but you come up with some different characters, like Nyx from Past Sins. When you come up with a character from scratch, what are the things you think as a writer should know about that character? I mean, we talked earlier in the first question on people should talk to that character and have questions and answers and know everything. When I worked for Mercedes Lackey, she actually wrote a lifetime history for every character that she writes, from birth to death and everything that happened in their lives, major, so that she could use those as story points. So how do you do it? How do you find, that characterization of a new character? For me, it's a lot about hearing their voice in my head, which is, oh, here comes the paddy wagon, oh no! But, like, being able to really give the character a unique voice of their own kind of helps form a lot of... You are able to figure out how they're going to answer or speak, and though some of the accent stuff and whatnot may not get into the dialogue, some people say... It's like I've had some comments where people say they like Twist better because I don't write her with the lisp. Yeah. With the lisp. But I find it's like getting the character's actual voice in my head really helps. That, for example, is what made me so fond of Lumberjack in Winter Bells, and why he returned a few chapters later after his initial introduction. Just because he became fun in my head. Beyond that, it's like, I feel it really depends on the kind of character of how much you want to flush them out. If it's the character that's the barista in a detective novel that maybe saw something or something. Maybe you don't need to know they were born on a Tuesday. Yeah, you don't need to know that. You don't need to know all that stuff. You need to know the stuff that it really influences their reaction to the given scene. So if she's freaked out by the blood, maybe that's because she's never been exposed to blood before, or maybe because she had a bad experience with blood in her childhood. But that fact alone helps shape her reaction to the particular situation. Right. And that's really why you want get different characters in different scenes from side to background to the main is you need to know enough to make their reactions truly believable.
Cool. World building, right? Now, we all know that you play in the MLP universe, but a lot of the stories that you've written, like Winter Bells, came up with new pieces of headcanon on the history of Heartswarming, right? With the colored fire logs and all of that, which I really loved. How do you go about thinking about world building? I mean, are you trying to play within a universe, or are you trying to come up with, say, brandy new, out in the wild kind of ideas?
It's like, if I'm trying to really come up with a story that's about brand new, out of the world ideas, which is kind of an example. The one strong example I have of that in my own library of stories would be Wise Beyond Her Years, which was I was entirely just playing with the world building and history of Equestria to kind of make this one really fun idea I had from EQLA happen.
Mm-hmm.
But in other stories where that isn't so much my focus, I like to fill in the gaps, kind of like the genetic researchers in Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm.
Is if I come across a hole where it's like, oh, there's this fun little thing, maybe a modification of, like you exampled, the hearth swarming tradition. I mean, their whole tradition is about fire and all that stuff, and while it's got the very Christmassy looking trees and everything else, it's like, well, we can maybe elaborate on how that came to be and whatnot, but because the core of their story so deeply involves fire, it would make sense that, like, the hearth and everything else, I mean, it's called hearth warming after all.
It is.
So, but filling in the gaps is where you can kind of start to take some creative liberties, and that leads to greater things down the road in the story that you can kind of base your base new events off of and whatnot.
That's cool. Your boy Batty Gloom has been your partner in the past for Past Sins. And so how many beta readers do you have? Gloom probably put a little bit more than beta reading into Past Sins, but how many beta readers?
Batty's unfortunately actually been out of the fandom for probably a year now.
No.
He lost interest after, I think, the 3rd season, or maybe even at the start of the 4th, which is a shame, but hey, everybody grows out of it at some time. Except maybe you, Dusty.
No, never.
Maybe in your blood.
No.
But I tend to have 2 phases. 3 phases if you include the, like, this is when I'm looking at it myself and contemplating it.
Okay.
So there's like, oh, I'm looking at it myself and contemplating it, and then I kind of make sure it's like, that's usually when it's like, okay, this is reading well to me. I'll kick it to my first stage. First stage is really just concept and general flow. It's like it's people saying, oh no, it's like, give me more details here, and it's like the really broad stroke stuff and really no focus on the technical aspects of grammar and whatnot. And then when I get the second phase, usually the story itself and the actual plot elements are really kind of locked in. So that the second phase is more technical reviews and stuff like that, so that it can really be technically sound, easy to read, not too many typos, even though there's always typos.
There's always typos.
People are still finding typos in Past Sins, and it's been seen by how many eyes?
Yeah, 10 million eyes. When it comes to that, okay, let's talk editorial feedback, right? How much do you incorporate the editorial feedback, and for how typically long do you allow that feedback to come in? I mean, you can take a story, give it to your editors, and then wait forever for them to come up with, changes. Or they'll give you a change, and then 2 weeks later, oh, I found another change. How long does that editorial process last?
Generally, if someone kicks an error to me, I'll take a look at it. If I agree with it, I'll make the change on the story. Simple as that. Especially if it's just a little typo. It's like, oh, well, who is going to care that I took out a typo? It's like, it's not like I'm changing the content, really, or anything. I'm changing a 2 to a 2, or there to a there, or an its to an its, or something like that.
Right.
But generally, that's one of the reasons why I really like having Illustrious Q kind of in the first phase, along with a few other people. Is that he's got a really tight turnaround, so I never have to. It's never me waiting weeks. It's basically just me waiting until he's kind of given it at least one read through.
Okay.
And then we'll kick it back and forth on particular scenes where I may need to expand things or whatnot. But it's like, of course, that doesn't work for everyone. But at the same time, it's like, if you're working with someone as a pre-reader editor and they are someone that's going to need a little bit more time, it's always good to kind of have everyone agree. Okay, let's agree that we should be able to discuss this, and that means you're through it and I'm through it for whatever reason by such and such date. Yeah,
that's cool. Speaking of
putting a date on it really kills the procrastination bug.
Speaking of going back and changing things, you and Batty went back and changed past sins.
Yes.
Due to you changed some passages because the fans basically said, this, and that story had been out for a while, and then you guys went back and looked at it and went, yeah, maybe we can make these changes. Well, when you're approaching this in new works, right, now you've had that experience with past sins. Now do you take that editorial process a little bit more serious on new works, and you're not putting it out there and then going to go back and change it like you did on past sins?
Well, past sins was it did not get as much pre-editorial work as the others did because it was originally not going to be as big as it ended up being. Oh my God, the .com boom that kind of happened there. But it's like that was like at the time of Past Sins' original posting, I was hoping it would be as popular as Better Living Through Science and Ponies.
Okay.
Which I think this was back when Equestria Daily still had their stars, and I think it had somewhere in the orders of hundreds of stars.
Right.
Where Past Sins blew up into the thousands.
Yes, it did.
Very quickly. And
Crazy.
it's like, oh my God, you people, what do you want from me?
We want you to write more of it! No, I'm sorry.
But, it's like, when it's a really it's like, Chapter 10, which is the rewrites I believe you're referring to.
Yeah, I think so.
Was the one where it's like, it was really the first time it's like, I got such a outcry back from the people who were reading. It's like, oh my God, this is wrong! And it's like, if I didn't agree, I wouldn't have changed it. But the thing is, they presented their arguments, and I went, oh yeah! That kind of makes sense. And so,
which is treachery.
Yeah, treachery. But Chapter 10 itself has gone through 3 revisions. There was the original.
Wow.
There was then the one where we dialed things back to 50, and then people was like, oh, it's lost so much of its power, and da-da-da-da-da. And so we then, during the pass through the story that we did to get it ready for the hardback printing, we gave Chapter 10 another look.
Okay.
And in its current version, it feels really good and strong in the current version, and it's kind of, why couldn't I have had that as the first one? But it's like it's got 85% of its power back and none of the OOC.
Oh, good, awesome! I'm glad my copy has the good stuff. So that's great.
That is the one rule I will say is that if once the story has gone to the actual paper, unless it's a typo fix, I'm really not going to change it.
Done.
Because it's like that's kind of it is now inscribed upon a very permanent medium. I'm not going to outdate people's books.
It's been chiseled in stone. Forget it. We're done. Sometimes you have to let art breathe and be itself.
Yeah.
Right. If it's a mistake, then move on and let it be itself.
Yep.
I was particularly taken. I went back. I haven't read a lot of your newer stuff. Sadly, bad Dusty. And I went back and I read some things today, and I was particularly taken with the story Last Evening Together. Particularly taken with that. If anybody doesn't know, the plot is simple. It basically is that after the main 6 lose their elements, and now have their power from the Tree of Harmony, Celestia and Luna say they need to go to this monastery to learn how to control the new magic that's inside of them. But to go to this monastery, they all, including Celestia and Luna, have to shave their manes and tails before they can go to this monastery. And you can almost imagine how traumatizing that would be to Rarity. Traumatizing as that would be to Rarity. And the way it was written was just, oh my God, the power of the psychology of losing a piece of yourself. And then at the end of it, just realizing that it's not really that big a deal at the end of it. But while it's happening, while you're in the middle of it, how the power of the psychology of losing a piece of yourself, and then finding out that that piece of yourself really didn't make all that much of a difference in who you are. Which is what I think, from a reader's standpoint, is that what you were going for?
That was definitely part of what I was going for. It's like it was written a little bit with a little less serious in its original intent. It was just meant to be Rarity having a freak out and then kind of coming back and realizing, as she often does during such freakouts, that maybe she freaked out a little too much. But it does lend itself to that deeper meaning just because of that process of it and the fact that I played it so dead serious.
Oh, you played it so dead serious that I was reading that thing going, oh my god. This is such an allegory for people losing stuff in their life and then coming back to it and going, it wasn't really that big a deal in the end. But when you're in the middle of it, it's like your world's going to die. Like your world is over. And then when your friends come up and they help you, and then it's like, it's not that big a deal because you have friends and you have support. So it's like, I love that story. I love that story.
Yeah, it was originally inspired by a picture Silpho did, who was also the person I commissioned for the title art, where she had Celestia and Luna sitting in a monastery, and they were shaven and all that stuff, and Celestia very peaceful, while Luna was a little kind of creaking her eye open and looking at her bare tail.
Yeah, really.
It's like not quite as at peace with everything about it, but
not quite at peace in the peaceful monastery. Yeah, I have a cat and I have a dog, both rubbing their faces on my camera stand. And if the camera does this, people, it's the pets. Okay, it's not me. We're not having an earthquake. I have a dog and a cat that have something to do with my TV, my camera stand. So don't worry about it. Yep, there it goes again. See, it moved. Widge, stop it. Okay, I know you want to get in the camera, but no, not now. You guys did a second printing of Past Sins, the hardcover. How does it feel to have yet another 1,000 copies of your book out there in the wild?
Brain explosion.
That people still want this after 4 years.
No, and I'm still getting some notes and emails like, is there going to be another printing? The thing is, unlike some of the other hardbacks that come out, it's like I really didn't have a lot of direct contribution to it besides writing and making the adjustments to make it season 2 compatible and fit to print, as I like to say at the time.
Right.
Otherwise, like the group of people who came to call themselves Equestria Publications did all the work. They figured out the very professional layout side. They got we had one person volunteer for the illustrations, but then when we started to run up against deadlines, it was Illustrious who got in touch with Cat B. Cache to finish the other half of the illustrations, and then the letters, and it's just the whole thing and how beautiful it turned out. It was just,
this book is gorgeous.
Valkron, who was the original person who did the online multiple memories cover art for Past Sins, the one with Twilight being almost hung. Also actually donated, did the commission for free for the dust cover. This is him again as well on the dust cover.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah. And it's like a lot more minimalistic, but it's also just as powerful.
It's way powerful. It's really cool. When I got my copy, I was flabbergasted at how nice this book is. Really, it really is really cool. Let me see. Next question. Writing can be a very long and labor-intensive process. Really. When you lay out a story, and we talked a bit, but I know you start from beginning to end. But do you have a beginning and an end, or do you just start writing and it just stops whenever you feel like the story's told?
I do generally have an idea of where I want it to end. I won't promise that idea doesn't change along the way, but at the same time, it's like, it's really hard to say. It's like I have it's like the horizon on a foggy day. It's like I know it's there. I kind of know the shape, but I don't try to lock myself into something so hard as that might make me miss some golden opportunities along the way.
Yes, it's like we're going to Valhalla, kind of. We might stop at, and have some, forbidden fruit over here. But we're going to go to Valhalla at some point. We might stop at forbidden fruit. But Valhalla, yeah. I can see it. What? Okay, let's go back. Let's go to our favorite show, right? My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, which got us all doing all this stuff. I do my show because of it. You write because of it. what were your thoughts as a writer when A.K. Yearling actually became Daring Do?
It's like that is an interesting question. It's like I have to think back to my reaction during that episode. It kind of turns it on its head of what you were expecting. This actually makes me think of yes, that's right. For Everfree Northwest, they have an Iron Author competition,
Right.
And one of the stories in there, since the theme was friendship. No, it was the pre-con contest, and one of the themes was friendship or something. It's like that one kind of tied in how Daring Do could be this great adventure and also be putting out this great book series, and that she's writing her field notes and then someone else is interpreting them in that given story. It was Twilight's mother. And that was kind of the friendship they made, was between the person actually having spectacular adventures and one making these spectacular adventures very profitable in the book market. But it's just a little bit kind of like the odd combination in a person that could actually yield to something quite amazing, because you have this one person who's got the brilliant mind and is doing something passionate and is saving the world arguably at the same time.
Right.
And then she writes a story about it to kind of sustain herself so she can keep doing what she likes. Though, I remember now, the thing about that episode that confused me the most is what was the ritual with the ring supposed to do? Because it was supposed to lock the sun in the sky or something.
Yeah,
or something.
it was supposed to bring 800 years of unrelenting heat to
It's like,
the valley.
Does that mean that spell is going to do something to Celestia?
Right. If that spell is going to strip Celestia of her power, don't you think she'd know that? And do something about it?
It's hard to say, man.
Of course, now we've had episode 100, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that ties in with Bon Bon being a part of a super secret agency, monster agency, out of Camelot, which was closed
because of Bugbear.
Because of the Bugbear. Now,
which I found interesting because
Celestia wanted plausible deniability, right?
Yeah.
But if Daring Do is part of that agency, which she could be because you saw the book, it had the same lock on it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Plausible deniability. Then how is she writing stories about it? That's not plausible deniability. That's basically telling everybody what's going on.
Well, no, I think by plausible deniability, it means Celestia wanted plausible deniability of being associated with the organization.
Okay. I
think it was more for Celestia can disown any and all involvement with this particular thing. Yeah.
Yes. Daring Do is out there taking care of things and writing things about it, but I know nothing about it.
Yeah,
I know nothing about that.
That's the point. It's like it's kind of like Commissioner Gordon and Batman.
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon has at least at some point during the whole story arc plausible deniability about knowing who Batman's identity is, or even that he associates with Batman until the bat signal becomes a thing. But
a thing, yes. Okay, so now that brings me to pet peeves. Fan fiction pet peeves. What are some of your fan fiction pet peeves in fan fictions that you've read? You don't have to name names, just some of the pet peeves of stories that you've read.
It's hard to not name names for one, because it's funny, you brought up Last Evening Together.
Yeah.
And this whole messy thing happened around another author, and I won't name his name, when he decided to rewrite the story because he felt that it was wrong for Rarity to have to give up her hair for some old religious coots and and yeah, no, it was a strange thing, and if you look in the comments section, you can see the back and forth that occurs with it or something. But that would be my pet peeve, is if you're I don't mind people doing interpretations of the story.
Okay.
It's like someone started and never got really far with something called Class Sins, where every pony was basically kind of acting like Rarity and trying to be super fabulous.
Okay.
In the past Sin setting, so it was like Nightmare Moon would bring fabulosity back to Equestria.
What?
What? Yeah, exactly. And that's fine, because that's good-spirited. That's trying to take an interesting twist on a story. But when you're rewriting a story just to attack how the original author interpreted something, that kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah,
because
that would be bad.
it's kind of like throwing the mud in the other person's face.
Yeah, that would not be cool. And the beautiful art of Last Evening Together, which is right here. Yeah, that's not good. I mean, there's parody work, which is taking something and making it funny, or improving on it, or however you want to do it. But just to rewrite it to because you didn't like it, that's Bad.
Or
That's-
just to forward your own agendas.
Yeah, that's bad sauce. Bad sauce. So at this point, I think we're going to introduce a new thing, people. We're going to introduce Uncle Dusty's Story Hour. Well, it's not going to be an hour. But
Uncle Dusty, is it story time?
it's story time.
It's
So,
story
we're
time.
going to take this wonderful book, Past Sins. And I saw a couple of people up there said that they've never read this story. So, we're going to open this to a random page. And we're going to read a
random page.
little bit of this story to you. And you know what? We're just going to start here in Chapter 1. Random page of Chapter 1. Just sit down, have your milk and cookies. Uncle Dusty's going to read for you right now. So, it took about half an hour for the filly to finally calm down and cry herself dry. The tears seemed to have a good effect on the filly, for she looked less scared than she had been. She lay right next to Twilight and was working to dry her eyes as she rested her head against Twilight's shoulder. "Feeling better?" Twilight quietly asked. Yes," the filly shakily answered, the first word Twilight heard her say the entire night. Her voice had a musical quality, but a fragility to it as well. It reminded Twilight of the time she had seen an earth pony playing crystal juice-filled glasses with water, a glass harp, as it were. It was a feat made easier by the special horseshoes the pony had on, but it was still a feat, still impressive to watch and listen to. I really need to work on this.
Well, this is your first try.
I know!
Keep going.
A voice like a glass harp. Certainly not a voice Twilight would pair with an evil, fallen princess bent on creating an eternal night. "That's good," Twilight replied before falling silent. She struggled to find something to say. When nothing came to mind, Twilight glanced at the clock and noticed the late hour. "So, it's been a long day. How about we get some sleep?" Can I sleep here?" the filly asked as she looked up at Twilight. A question that brought fresh unease to Twilight's mind. Letting the filly sleep in the same bed was asking for trouble. If she was Nightmare Moon and just playing some cruel trick, Twilight was just asking to be attacked in the middle of the night. At the same time, Twilight couldn't bring herself to refuse. It was like her mouth had forgotten to form the word no in the face of the filly's pleading eyes. "Yes, you can," Twilight finally relented. "How about I make it so we're both more comfortable?" So, if you want to read more of Past Sins, you can go to Fanfiction, or you can just go to Google and put in Past Sins and it brings up 1,000 things. But you'll find this story on Fanfiction. It's a wonderful, wonderful story that I definitely love. That's why I own the book. So I'll work on that. So hopefully, like every other show, we'll read a passage from one of my favorite fan fictions and get some pub for some of these guys who are writing some really good stories. Yes, I need to work on it, don't I? I read too fast. I always have. Working on it. But with that, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Uncle Dusty, why stop? I just became invested. Sorry, Trey. I know. But you're invested now, so now you have to go to Fanfiction and read the rest of the story. Don't you? Awesome. That's great. Because if he goes into a third printing, guess what? You're going to buy one. Who knows? It might happen. It might.
Don't tempt fate. Don't tempt fate.
Don't tempt fate. Yes. So we're going to go and talk about convention season, which is still rolling along. TrotCon, July 17th and 19th, Columbus, Ohio. Guests, Kelly Sheridan, Brian and Brenna Drummond, M.A. Larson, G.M. Barrow, Stephen Andrews, Heather Breckel, and many other community guests, including my niece, Brianna Rhodes. So if you see a Brianna Rhodes somewhere, say hi from Uncle Dusty. Okay? Crystal Mountain PonyCon, Salt Lick City, Utah, July 17th and 18th also. Flim Flap Velocity, Dr. Wolf, Super Crikey Dave, Two Rad Cosplay, Candlelot Radio, Ash, Sweet Ring Geekery, and more. Mostly a Relaxicon up there. So they have a lot of community guests. Check that out if you're in the local area.
I'm actually going to be at that one, Skyping in for one of their writing panels.
Skyping in for writing panel. There you go. Penstroke also going to be there.
Spirit.
In spirit, anyway. Then the Big Daddy.
The Granddaddy.
The Granddaddy. The Daytona 500 of Bronydom. That is BronyCon, August 7th to 9th in Baltimore. Guests, long list of guests. Listen to all these people. Kathy Westluck, John Delancey, M.A. Larson, Kelly Sheridan, Andy Price, Charlotte Fullerton, G.M. Barrow, Michael Dobson, Amy Keating Rogers, Kazumi Evans, Heather Newfer, Andrea Libman, Agnes Grabowski, Nicole Oliver, Tony Fleece, Daniel Ingram. No, wait a minute. Daniel Ingram had to cancel. That's right. Daniel had to cancel. Why? Because he is deep in the new movie. He's deep into the end of Season 5, and he's deep into Season 6. So he has deadlines. And that's just the MLP stuff he's working on. That's not any of the other shows that he and Stefan work on. So, very busy man.
He is a man of many shows.
Man of many shows. Yes, he is. So that's all coming up.
Also going to be there myself at the BronyCon too. I've actually moderating my own panel.
Moderate your own panel? That's awesome. You want to learn more about writing? Penn will be there. Go to his panel. You can come to my panel. Men of MLP. We'll be talking about how to be manly in today's day and age. Really. It's a thing. Trust me.
Does it involve mustaches?
It involves mustaches. Trust me. But yeah, so we'll be talking about that also, and I'll be on the Brony's React panel with AC Racebest and Saber Spark and everybody else. It's going to be a gas. And trust me, Brony's React to episode 100 is coming. Because I turned in my footage, and it's awesome. I can't wait for you guys to see this stuff. It's going to be great. Then, the awesome West Coast convention that is Equestria LA. September 4th to 6th, Labor Day weekend, Anaheim, California. Right across from Disneyland. Disneyland! Absolutely. And if you stay at the Hilton Thursday or Sunday nights, you can get discounted Twilight Hour passes to Disneyland. That's if you stay at the Hilton. So you can get those there. Awesome. Guests so far, Bonnie Zachary, who created My Pretty Pony, the woman who brought us all together for this wonderful show. Amy Keating Rogers will be there. We can talk about her new job at Disneyland. Things she can actually talk about anyway. Tabitha St. Germain will be there. John Delancey will be there. Black Griffin will be there. Michelle Creeper will be there. Jen Blake will be there from the comics. I'll be there. And I will be your auctioneer once more for the charity auction. I will also
I'll be there on Saturday.
And Penn will be there on Saturday.
Well, it's like that's just a drive.
That's just a drive for you, buddy.
Yeah.
Yep. Vendor applications.
Not like all these other conventions where I have to
you have to fly to. I mean, come on. Vendor applications are open. Reg is open now for Equestria LA. Get your tickets as soon as you can. So, go into charity work real quick. Tetsuo's charity. Didn't do so great on Tetsuo's charity. We made $280. So we didn't quite hit our $500 goal. Only the second time in our history we didn't hit it, but that's okay. San Diego Comic-Con was here. A lot of things came up this month. We can understand that. So Child's Play gets $280 from us, and I will pull a name out of this hat down here for this pile of stuff, and that is, of course, all of the cards, Twilight Sparkle Shipfic folder card stuff, this wonderful rarity, which is the Seattle card from up there. We got a Princess Celestia collectible card game deck right there. We got an unopened deck of Twilight Sparkle Sheet Folder expansion pack, and that's Ponyville University. So that's an expansion pack there. And I've got this comic, which is the wrestling cover, because me and Tetsuo were the arm wrestlers. So that's the wrestling cover of the My Little Pony comic cover. And I got a blind bag here, and all of that stuff. And of course, we did not get to $500, so I do not give away this comic, which is signed by Kelly Sheridan. So that stays with me. All of this stuff right here goes to name coming out of this hat, which is the Daring Do hat, which is coming out of the mothballs. We haven't seen this one in a while, so we're going to dig in here and find out who's going to win that pile of stuff.
I hope it isn't one of the mothballs.
That's not the mothballs. It's not the mothballs. Dirty Kitten, buddy, you finally win one. DK, there you go, bud. You win this pile of stuff, so I will ship that out to you. Make sure you get me your mailing address and email. Hey, keep it down back there. I'm live. Woo! They're making meatloaf in there. It's a dang thing. I'm telling you. Making meatloaf. It's a loud thing to make meatloaf.
Well, you got to get that meat to stop loafing around.
I'm telling you. Now, I'm going to put my Daring Do hat on because I love this thing with my Russian Aviator broken goggles. Love it. There we go. It's on. I am now. Rarity would love this thing. I swear. It's awesome. And that is charity giveaways for that. Now, we're going to talk about our new charity. And that is going to be Developments in Literacy, Inc. Now, these guys are really cool. They go into places like the Middle East and they set up teachers and schools for girls because most girls in the Middle East are like property. So basically they get out there and better the lives of the women and better the countries, because when women have literacy and are smart, things improve. Trust me, they do. My life improved when Amy came into my life. She's much smarter than I am. She is. Trust me. She'll even tell you, but she is. So for that, you know, they right now they're working in Pakistan, I think. Middle East. So they go in there and bring the books, and they bring the education to the women, and it's a wonderful thing. Oh, look at this! Oh, hey guys, look at! Oh my God, that's not a meat loaf? That's a meat. Oh my God, look at this thing! Sweet! That is. Oh my, that's 5 pounds. Look at that, 5 pounds of meat.
You guys are gonna make me make meatloaf tonight. You guys are going to make me make meatloaf tonight, because I actually have the ingredients for meatloaf in my own apartment too.
I can't wait to sink my teeth into that later. That's gonna be awesome. Awesome. So you did find out what I was having for dinner. Amazing. We've almost lost it. We've almost lost control, but I'm back. So for this charity, we're going to give away this pile of stuff over here. And of course, I got more secret ship fit folder cards, that kind of stuff. I've got the rarity theme deck for the CCG. So I got a rarity theme deck. We're talking rarity, so we're going to give that away. I've got a season 1 DVD from Shop Factory. That's at least $20 right there. And because we're talking writing and books, I've got a Fluttershy book by GM Barrow. Right there, Fluttershy book. And we'll also give away an IDW comic. This is number 6, signed by Heather Nuffer, who wrote this one. Heather. So she's in this one. This one's awesome. Oh, colors by Heather. So this was the second half or the first half of Nightmare Moon. Let me look. Nope, first half, Nightmare Rarity. So first half, Nightmare Rarity. So that one has the special cover and signed by Heather, who did the colors. So all of that stuff right there. Now, me and Penn got together before the show and thought we'd do something special. It took me a bit to drag it out of him. I did. But I got it for you. I did. And he's going to kill me next time he sees me. But I did. If we crack $500, he's going to send me a first print of this book, Past Sins, which is out of print. This is his own personal copy of the first printing of this book, which has all the awesome in it. The second printing doesn't have almost as much as awesome stuff as this printing does. So first print of Past Sins hardcover, if we crack $500, but only if we crack $500. Only if we crack $500.
And some extra facts. I will, of course, sign the book since it's going to be in my hands.
Absolutely.
And also, of the 937 books that were given registered numbers in the original printing, this book is number 12.
12. You know what? My book's number is 424. So you get 12.
So whoever, if someone does win this drawing,
yes,
double check the order number before you get it, just to make sure Dusty didn't do a switcheroo.
Just to make sure I didn't switch it. Yes. So you get number 12 of the first printing if we crack $500. So get your friends, get your enemies, get your parents, get your kids at school to give $5. Go over to manliestbrony.com, give $5 for the opportunity to win a first printing of Past Sins. It's not another opportunity to get another first printing. That's it. This is the last one. He's not letting any more go. He's already told me. That's it. All his. So, go. Give $5. So some wonderful people in the Middle East can learn to read and write and teach. And things can get better over there for everybody. Thank you very much for all your support for everything you guys do, because we couldn't be doing this without you. And with that, we're moving on. Moving on from charity to bring in everybody's favorite guy.
He's a little screwy.
He's a little screwy.
He's a little spherical.
He's a little spherical, too. That would be the Screwball.
Hello.
Hi, buddy.
How's it going?
How's it going? How you been?
Tired.
Tired?
Exhausted.
God, what are you doing?
I was over at Mando Ponies and Sibsy's all weekend, and we had very late nights
Very late.
playing games and watching cartoons. So I'm still trying to
I think you're just trying to make everyone in the chat jealous.
Oh, jelly.
that too. I had to give. I wasn't gonna give something fake.
Jelly, jelly.
But yeah, I'm exhausted. I am so exhausted. Oh my goodness.
Well, hopefully you're not too exhausted to give this
Oh.
man some questions.
Of course not. Reading's easy.
Because you know why reading is easy? Because reading is fundamental.
Exactly. And plus, I'm just limped as a boned fish here, so I can still move my eyes, so I don't have to do much.
But how are you going to scroll down through the chat?
I make the windows extremely big.
Extremely big.
But, so I'll bring in the first question. So this one's from RBZ for you, Pen. How the hey did you get your book officially published?
Well, that's the thing. It's not officially published. It doesn't have a ISBN number from the Library of Commerce or anything in that. It's just short of basically being a vanity printing, and what would have defined it as a vanity printing is if I had done all the work and suffered all the costs myself.
Yes.
The best thing that is the best metaphor I ever used to describe it is it's kind of like getting a bunch of people together to order T-shirts. Everybody chips in a little money, everybody gets a T-shirt.
Yes.
And so it's like we did the Equestria Publications did a really good job of making it as professional as possible with the per chapter images and the formatting and everything else.
The amazing thing is that an ISBN, to have this be an official ISBN book, an ISBN number costs like stupid amounts of money.
That would have raised probably been the step too far and made Hasbro go nope.
Because that would be now that would make it an official Hasbro My Little Pony book because it has an ISBN, right? You would have to clear it with them, and they're going to go, no, I don't think we want our characters to be this. So, yeah. So even if he wanted to, he couldn't do an ISBN number because then you start stepping on the toes of Hasbro, and they go, nope, done.
Yeah, no, it's like we're all kind of, it's like the fact, we also did it non-profit, and anything else that was left over was either eating up the costs that were incurred during the process or were given to charity.
Yep.
All to kind of just to be bowed in deep respect for the Hasbro overlords, and so they didn't whap us on the head with a C&D.
Right. Which is amazing because this book is so nice that I the entire time I was waiting for my hard copy, I was just sweating C&D. I was sweating it. It's like, oh, they're going to stop it. Oh, they're going to stop it. Oh, they're going to stop it. And then they didn't. It was like, oh, cool.
Dodge the bullet.
Dodge the bullet. Next.
C&D bullet. So this is from Taz1939 for you, Pen. How does it feel to know that your character Nyx is one of the most popular MLP OCs?
Let me see. I think I had this reaction earlier. Brain explosion.
Brain exploding.
Brain explosion. It's like it's really cool. It really is. It's like it's got some trappings and potholes in it. I mean, I've seen some strange things and read some strange things involving dear little Nyx, but it's definitely cool and definitely an honor that something I created is fairly recognizable within the fandom.
I am Nightmare Moon.
Of course.
I had to.
Oh, actually, oh my god! Actually, that just reminded me. We spent while I was over at their place for the weekend. We spent a good amount of time at Toys R Us, like 3 different stores, because we're looking for.
I am so mad at Target
stuff.
right now. I'm so mad at my local Targets. They're so picked over for pony toys.
Oh, they completely killed Target here in Canada. So yeah, we don't get any. Period.
Yeah. So like the new Applejack kicking the tree and the new Flim are out, but my local Targets don't have them. And I'm like, mad.
Just have to order them online or something.
I know.
If they have online, I don't know.
But it's the chase. The chase is the thing. Go get them.
Yeah, trying to find it, right?
Yep. Next.
Toy hunting. Let's see. Ooh. Okay, this is so perfect due to the amazing summer weather we're currently having. This one's from Trailblaze to all. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Okay. How are you, Pen?
For me,
Yeah.
it is the Baskin-Robbins Gold Medal Ribbon.
Ooh.
It is a swirl of chocolate and vanilla ice cream with ribbons of caramel.
That sounds so
That
fancy.
So good. So good. You know what? For me, it's always and will always be a butter pecan. A really good, creamy, awesome butter pecan. Oh my god, it's just like dreamy. Love it. Or a Boston Cooler. Now, it's not an ice cream flavor. A Boston Cooler is Dairy Queen soft serve, float with Verner's ginger ale. Not any other ginger ale, Verner's ginger ale. It was invented in Michigan, but they called it a Boston Cooler. Don't ask me why. But you could get them at Dairy Queen's in Michigan. But I can make it here just by going to Dairy Queen and taking a Verner's can with me. But it's like, I'm telling you, if you really want a summer treat, and you can get Verner's in your local area, go to a Dairy Queen and say, here, make me a float with that. And they will. And you'll get awesome in a cup. Trust me.
Oh, I know my faves. And it's... okay, so, watched a bunch of TV shows yesterday, and Mando made the best ice cream I've ever had.
Oh, did he?
I don't know if he's listening, but
Yeah.
he made this chocolate Oreo something mixed with pop and a bunch of stuff and blended it together and put it in a cup, and it was still thick, but I still used a straw anyway, and it was good.
Nice.
They just got new blender.
Kind of
it's
like a pop-based shake.
It's like pop-based shake. Like it had pop. I think it had pop. It had like Oreo bits and chocolate. It just
For all you people out there who don't know
good.
what pop is,
oh,
okay,
soda.
you're not
Okay,
from Canada or northern
Americans.
anywhere. You know what? It's soda pop. Okay, from Michigan and Ontario and other parts of Canada, we call it pop. Okay, we don't call it soda. We don't call it cola. It's pop, and it's always been pop.
'Cause that's the noise it makes. Pop.
Yes.
Pop, 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 pop. Yes. Good history lesson. So this one is this one for fudge cakes. I cannot read today. I'm just so lazy. Goodness. Okay,
lazy.
so
You're lazy.
this is from Whoolicious. What fiction or show idea have you seen that made you say, Dane, I should have thought of that?
Sons of Anarchy. Sons of Anarchy. I should have thought of that, but I didn't. So, and I'm now not rich. So there you go.
I can't think of a moment where I had that, but on the story I'm currently working on, I kind of had that moment of the show. It's like I had it written, but I didn't get the chapter out until after the show did it, and it was the Abbott and Costello routine.
Aha.
It's like I referenced that in one of the chapters of The Road Home and had that written, but then that was before we had the clear, cloudy skies routine from our dear show. So
Which was awesome.
It's like I can't. But other than that, I can't think of a particular moment where it's like I had an idea for something and then it went on and made great deals of money, and I am sad that I didn't think of it to the right people.
Yeah.
So this is from Trailblaze. Joel, what gets your creative juices flowing?
The ponies!
My creative juices come and go, sort of like, an art muse. So, I'll be up in my room. I know I need to work on the show, but I don't have the muse. The muse is not going, so I'll read some fan fiction, or I'll watch some videos, or I'll play my bass, or I'll do something. And then, normally my muse will tell me to go do something when I'm doing something else, right? But I get most of my ideas at work when I can't do anything about it. Because my brain is doing this at work, but it's doing this in the back of my head, coming up with ideas. So I'll have a little notebook, which I'll write things down. And then I go, okay, now, what was I thinking when I get home? What was that? What was that idea? Because my brain is weird. It will come up with the greatest stuff when I don't have time to do it, because I'm working on something else, right? So I'm off doing something else, and then all of a sudden I write down these great ideas I get, because my brain is stupid. But there you go.
But to give a more serious answer, it acts a lot the same way for me. I'll have great ideas at one point, and then sometimes they don't want to come back out of their hiding holes when I'm actually sitting there. It's like, it's your time now. Come here, little ones.
Yes.
But the reason I said ponies earlier is that previous to MLP coming out, my writing had dried up like a lake bed in the desert, and I hadn't really written anything seriously for 2 to 3 years. And then the ponies came along, and they brought everything back. It was glorious.
Yes.
Glorious.
Pen, do you ever, like, while you're watching the show, just maybe jot down a couple of ideas as you're watching it, or maybe go back and do it, or?
Generally, I need the episode kind of has to stew in the back of my brain for a little bit before I pick up on anything. That or I need to go rewatch it again because the first time it's just it's like I'm just taking it in and enjoying the moment. So
Yeah.
I'm not trying to overanalyze too much, which is kind of what kind of kills the show sometimes for some people. Is like they become super critical and can't just enjoy and just like
They
okay,
just need
just
to realize
enjoy it.
it's a child's
It's
cartoon.
a child's cartoon that sells toys. Just don't overthink it. And I will say this 100 times. I'll say it every freaking show. It's not Ben-Hur. Stop it,
Wait, Ben-Hur.
Tommy
what?
Oliver
what?
and other people.
Tell me the story to this, because I'm
The
confused.
story is everybody who's hypercritical of this show needs to back the stink off.
Yeah.
Okay? It's a
But
show to sell toys, which is better than it actually needs to be. It's not Ben-Hur. It's not MGM of the 30s. It's basically a really great show which makes you laugh if you shut your brain off every now and then and have fun with it. Why, certain people, do you have to over-critically tear it apart? It's stupid. I'm coming
it's like-
out right now and pointing fingers at certain people in this fandom that need to back the stink off from the people who work on the show. Okay? Just because they're going into a hiatus for a couple of months does not give you the right to send stupid emails and call out people who work on the show because you think that they should be chained to a desk making this show for you. Okay? They
The
don't.
hiatus is for the full reason to make the show perfect.
Correct.
I'm not kidding. They're full out putting the hiatus because they are actually quite backlogged. They are working on season 6, but they're still doing a lot of stuff. Do you want them to bring out an unfinished product? No,
No.
of course not.
Of course
so
not.
that's why they're making the
You
hiatus,
want the high
because
quality
they're
of
getting
the show?
overworked.
Give the people the time to do the work and be
And
happy
especially
about it.
Especially since they're also trying to balance the new Equestria Girls at
movie.
the same time.
Yes.
At the same time.
And don't forget the actual movie that's
Yeah.
coming out
The
in like
actual movie that they're working on.
2017, 18, or whatever it is.
Okay? So, please, people, back up. Back off. Enjoy what we have for as long as we can.
Because
Because
it eventually will go away.
eventually all shows end.
Oh, yes.
Eventually, all
Unless
shows
you're
end.
The Simpsons.
Unless The Simpsons will end eventually. But knows?
It is survived.
I'll tell you right
a
now-
long time.
I'll tell you right now, we're not going to get 27 seasons of Pony. We might want it, but it's not going to happen. Okay? So, back up, back off, and enjoy it. Okay? Don't be hypercritical of certain episodes because you think that your headcanon got shot in the butt. Who cares? Change your
That's
headcanon. Okay.
That's one thing I was very happy about the Magic Sheep episode.
Yeah.
It could have so easily blown the biggest darn hole in past sins,
It could have,
but it didn't.
but it didn't. Okay?
It's like I could be very happy for that. I wouldn't have been mad if they did it because it's like the past sins is now 3 years old. It is on the firing line.
It's in the firing line, man. Past Sins is like sitting right there. It's like every episode that comes out could shoot a huge hole in this book. But that's because it's a product of its time. It's a product of its era. That's like going back and being hypercritical of a Season 1 episode that isn't up to par with a Season 5 episode. That's because Season 1, they didn't have the tools, they didn't have the writing, they didn't have the characters down that they do now. The characters haven't actually moved up into characterization to Season 5 back then. So, people are saying, well, Rainbow Dash wouldn't have done that in Season 1. Well, no, duh. Because she's grown as a character. Okay? Twilight Sparkle wouldn't have done that in Season 2. Duh. She has wings now. She's a princess. She's learning things. Characters learn things, and they move up, and they move on. Okay? So, this is, Uncle Dusty saying, dudes, chill. Have fun with it.
Which I could say the same for when it comes to, the canon arguments, which is, if you want to argue over canon on a cartoon show, I hear the Star Wars fandom is hiring.
They are. The Star Wars fandom is hiring for that.
If you want headcanon arguments, that's the fandom.
Yeah.
Or even Warhammer 40k. I've seen arguments in that one.
Yeah.
Like
We don't
this
need it
is
here.
MLP. You do not have no need to fight over that sort
No
of
need.
stuff. Oh my goodness.
No need. So,
Anyways,
now that I've gotten that off my chest,
It's like
Yes.
it felt like that one was festering for a while.
That
there.
one
that was
festering for a
festering
bit.
for all of us. We have
Yeah.
to do that. But anyways, since it was kind of on topic, this is from Flare Cobra to all. How do you think you'll make it through the mid-season break?
Steven Universe.
Nope, there you
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
Steven Universe is cranking back up.
Oh.
Wander Over the Yonder's cranking up.
Gravity Falls.
Gravity Falls.
Episode just started a while, like half an hour ago.
Yep. So
It just started up.
there's awesome things in other properties that are happening. Now, if you don't want to go watch another property, there's things like going and reading past sins.
Yeah.
See how big this thing is? It could
Perfect
last the entire.
plot.
It could last the entire hiatus right here. One story.
200K.
200,000 words right there. That will take you a while. There's a ton of really great fan fiction on Fanfiction that you can go read that are at least this long. You could actually try to tackle that really awesome, huge story, Fallout Equestria. But
You seem very trepidatious to actually say that name.
You could be insane and do that, but
You could go back and watch old episodes.
you could go back
You know what?
and start watching from episode 1 all the way through until the hiatus is over. That way you
Or-
remind yourself how awesome the series is, and then when it starts up again, hey,
You could do this. There's this place, this magical world that I like to call outside.
yes,
And there's physical activities you
Physical
can do,
activities.
like football or
football,
or
hoofball,
bear wrestling, anything.
bear wrestling, bicycling,
I
swimming.
think I have to say this for Screwball. Maybe not the actual bear wrestling unless it's a stuffed bear.
Yeah,
Let's
stuffed
do
bear.
stuff bear, yeah.
Stuffed bear.
Fight those stuff bears.
Hoof wrestling.
Hoof wrestling, there
How-
you go. Just
Probably
just
takes a
don't
bit of
strength
wrestling to
others.
go to build a bear and actually build a bear there.
Build a
It
bear
can't be
to
as
wrestle.
easy-
Yeah, there you
can't
go.
be as
We
easy as
almost
they
did
advertise.
just the other day. We were about to build a why did I suddenly forget his name? Toothless from
Toothless. Nice.
yeah, they had a
Yes.
Toothless and we're so close to building it.
Yes.
So close.
I still need to order Zakora. Zakora, you can only get online, so I need to order Zakora.
Oh really? I did not know that.
Next.
Let's see, yeah. So this one's from Ricard OFR 200 for all. What is your favorite episode in the season so far?
Oof. Wow.
I'm gonna say straight up. I just have to say it right now. Is what the heck was it called? Well, the second most recent with Twyla going back to see her friends again.
Yes. Yeah.
That one was so good.
That was
so
a very good
emotional,
episode.
So good.
In fact, I had a message into M.A. Larson on how much I loved it, and he said to me, he said he'd been pushing for that episode since season 3.
And that episode's title was Amending Fences.
Amending
I just
Fences,
looked it up.
yeah.
Yes, that's
But
it.
he'd been pushing Hasbro to do that episode since season 3, and they finally allowed
He
him to do it.
finally won.
And to me, it's a toss-up between, of course, Amending Fences, which I really love, and Rainbow Dash doing the 5 Stages of Grief earlier in the season. So
The Tanks for the Memories.
Tanks for Memories, which when I first saw it, blew me away that they could do that, right? In fact, when I was talking to John Delancey at Everfree Northwest, I told him that they had done that, and he looked at me like I'd grown a third head. He said, "They did? I have got to go watch that." And
It's
so,
like it's probably as close as that they can ever really get, considering their target audience and
Yeah.
their desire for a particular.
yeah, and not being able to kill things in kids shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why they did do the way they did, which is
Yeah,
thank goodness.
this season is shaping up to be extremely awesome because if anybody saw the animatics from San Diego Comic-Con,
That song.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
no spoilers, but just that song that they showed, we all know
Yes.
the song's coming. But the
Yes.
song that they play there, wow,
yeah,
it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
good.
It's always nice to see like getting them getting Broadway talent.
Lena Hall is a pony. She's been a pony fan all her life, and now she's a pony in the show, and she's singing a song in the show. And I follow her on Twitter, and as soon as she saw the animatic on the show, she said she was walking around New York singing the song and crying.
Aww.
And crying because she's so happy to be in the show. And on top of that, she said, one of my songs. She didn't say the song. She said one of my songs, which means she's done more than one.
It's like that whole episode may be a musical for all.
That whole episode is probably a musical because they haven't done the whole musical thing. This
It was just, oh my god, her voice is
excited,
so
so
good.
excited for later this season. So excited.
Yes. It might be a hiatus, but it's always worth the wait. We all know that.
I can't promise anything, but if I can get Lena Hall on this show, I will.
Please do.
If I can get Lena Hall on the show, I will. But I can't promise
her singing.
because she is she's like trying to get Weird Al, right? Huge star. So it's like, whew. I hope I can. I've got sort of a side in. I'm trying, but I can't. I'm trying. That's all I can promise. Is I'll try real hard.
But
so cool.
My favorite of those not already named, because they were all very good. Of those named was Bloom and Gloom. Which was the Apple Bloom's dream sequence episode.
Oh yes,
that one was really good too.
Which was funny for all the food changing and all of that.
I think the rooster changed too.
The rooster changed.
Yeah.
Pinkie Pie changed. The whole thing. That was funny.
Yeah, it was good. So this one is from Whoalicious. For you, Pen, ever consider recording your stories on tape or MP3? I love listening to stories as I drive.
So first, Whoalicious, that sounds like the Aloysius, like I'm the thing, so I just had to comment on that. Second thing is, while I do not have what I would consider the proper voice for such things, there have been audiobooks done and recorded for a few of my stories, Past Sins being the biggest one. The one I recommend the most is from I forget his proper YouTube name. I know him better as Gordon Freepony, I believe.
That sounds familiar. Yes.
He did a really good set of readings for and that actually he was live broadcast them on the Second Life servers there for a while. And okay, there's the name, Ilya Lenov. I am so butchering the pronunciation of that. It's like ILLYALEONOV.
Okay, so put that into Google, you'll find it.
But yeah, no, it's like if you put Paston's audiobook into the search bar on YouTube, it'll come up there. And I think he's got download links to all the MP3s and whatnot. And he has a really good audiobook voice.
Nice.
That's good. I like that. And he just did it all in his free time.
Yeah, nope, completely of his own volition.
I might do Last Evening together because it's a nice short story.
Yeah.
That I love. So I might do that. Just for fun.
Awesome. I like that.
Next.
Let's see. Yeah. So this one is from
James Justice,
I feel like he is a well-known person on
resident superhero
Oh my.
of Stay Brony, my friends, who wasn't with us the last show because I know he was prepping for San Diego Comic-Con.
Yes.
Really? Because I know that people like Top Cow Comics have probably been having a comic in the works for this character for a very long time. So he's been in like contract negotiations to find the artist and the writer to tell his story in comic book form. And of course, he also has to get Soggy Milk on so he could sign his name soggily on the contract. Of course, they don't see eye to eye; they never do, being his arch nemesis, as it were. So I'm sure that contract negotiations for this comic are tense right now. But with all that aside, what is it that he wants to know this week?
Question for Penn from James. Are there any characters or events that you've read that are based on people or things in real life?
I honestly don't know how to. I can't think of a particular moment for that one. It's like writers always put a little bit of themselves into the story. It's just the way it is and whatnot. It's like you use that to flesh out this little character. It's like, oh, I have a friend who has this weird quirk, and that'll work well here and all that stuff. That's just how the process goes about. But a particular story that was based entirely based on a particular event doesn't entirely ring a bell for me, unfortunately. Yeah. I'm sorry. I wish I could give you a better answer. I'm sorry.
No, that's good. Then you should start writing that involves that.
Next.
Let's see. Yeah. Sorry, just I was leaning back and I realized I should be getting ready for the next
Dead
one.
air.
So this one is this one's from Tanya East.
Kanye.
Tanya East. I like that. It's like
Nice.
Kanye West, but
Yes.
that's hilarious. So this one is this is for all three of you. What are your stances on violence in fan fiction? Not meaning gore, just mean fights in general.
Well, if fights in the fan fiction move along the story, then they're warranted, right? Like, you can't have the Changeling invade Camelot without a fight, right? Because you got to fight them off. You can't have internal conflict between two characters that might come to blows as long as it advances the story plot, right? If it advances the story plot, then everything's great. If you just have a bunch of John Woo film going up in smoke, then why, right?
Yeah, no, I've got to agree with that. It's like it's got to definitely serve a purpose. Perhaps it doesn't advance the plot, but the other side of that coin is that it exposes something of the characters.
There it
it's
is.
It's like that's the kind of the golden rule I've heard told. I forget who told me that. It's like a quote or something where it's like if a entry in a story is not advancing the plot or revealing something of the characters, then it is superfluous to the actual story.
Yes, it means nothing. That's
Good.
why. That's how like the script for Blues Brothers used to be this big when Dan Aykroyd wrote it, and now it's that big after it was edited. Because he put in all of the backstory of the Blues Brothers from beginning to end, from birth to death. When it didn't have, it needed to be a script for a movie, and he wrote like a novella of everything about the Blues Brothers, and they had to cut it down. Didn't need this, didn't need that.
Born on a Tuesday, died on a Sunday.
So this one is from Pink Pearl Apple to you, Dusty.
Hi, P.
Pink's actually just beginning to quilt, and she was wondering if you'd like one. She wants to do a bunch for practice, and she even asked me. I said, if you can handle the resources.
Yes, if you
and
can
sort of
handle
thing.
the resources, and it doesn't break you, and you're doing it for practice, then yeah, sure. But don't do one for me if you can't afford to do it, and it's eating up your time and any of that stuff. Okay, so we'll talk about it later.
Definitely.
Though that
That's-
makes me think of at last year's BronyCon, someone had commissioned one of the Shadowbox ponies. You
Right.
know, you see them at every convention, and they are doing the Shadowbox. Someone got the original Passings cover commissioned
Nice.
in Shadowbox. Oh my God, it was a huge and B complicated and C awesome.
Yes, it was. I think I saw that one. It was awesome. But now we're up to that point in the program when we would normally play EQI. We would normally pull up Equestria Inquirer, and Joe Stevens would tell you the latest news from Equestria, from the desk in Ponyville. But sadly, Joe is missing. He was last seen investigating some weird dreams around Ponyville. But he's disappeared. We don't know where he is. We've lost him. If spotted, please contact us here at Stay Brony, my friends, as soon as possible. Because we miss him, and we need to know that he's all right and safe. He is somewhere in Ponyville, stuck. We don't know what happened. We don't know where he is. But hopefully, by next show, we'll find out where he's been and get all the latest news that is fit to print from Ponyville. With that, hopefully Joe is fine and okay. And make sure that you're keeping an eye out there in Ponyville to see if you can find him for us. Get back to us, dusty@staybrony.com, if you find him. Let me know. Maybe he even sees this and he's stuck somewhere. Maybe we need the power ponies to break him out. He's captured. We don't know.
Wonderful powers activate.
We're not sure.
When you say stuck in a dream, all I can hear is the Inception soundtrack.
He might be stuck in a dream. We don't know.
Hans Zimmer at his Gardos.
So, with that, moving on. More questions.
So this one is from JM666. This is for you, Pen. I'm reading this. Thank you for your great stories. Past Sins has made me call myself and admit to be a brony, and I owe you a lot for that. Is there a tribute to your work, such as the art and music and fan-made side stories that you've enjoyed the most?
Is there a tribute to the
Is there any fan art, music?
If I'm understanding the question the way I think it is, one thing we did do to kind of thank people who did fan art is in the original copy of Past Sins, which again, break the 500 barrier, and there's going to be one available. Oh my god! But in the original printing of Past Sins, we did include a lot of fan art, like some of the original fan art that came for this thing. I also do try to plug new music comes out that I'm informed of. Sometimes I don't find out about it, but when I do, I try to plug the stuff that really deserves it on my Fanfiction blog, where it tries to get at least a few more eyes. But as to the actual fan stories, I don't really... there is a Past Sins group on Fanfiction where they try to collect anything and everything that brings itself under the Past Sins banner. And I read some of those stories. I don't read a lot of them, just because real life and my own writing kind of destroys everything. Yep. But if there's one I could maybe give a call out to, just because it's just the last one I read and I enjoyed it. There was a Fallout Equestria Past Sins crossover that was doing a good job of getting going, called Nightmare Nix, I believe. I have to double check that to be entirely sure, but I doubt it's hard to find either, based on all the details I've provided.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's cool.
Yeah. Next. So this one's from RBZ for you, Penstroke. Will you be selling copies of your book at BronyCon?
Nope. I am. If the one I have offered today disappears, that means I have 4 spare in my personal collection. 2 from the original printing, 2 from the second printing. And those are for emergencies and to try to last through the decade of situations like this. And then after that, I will just be left to my 3 personal copies. The one from the original printing, one from the second printing, and one from the original printing that was bound backwards. It is fun to look at.
That's like rare.
I do not know how they pulled it off, but it is like the entire book kind of just got turned around in there a weird way. So if you crack it open, I'll actually pull it down here and crack it open. So it's like completely, it's in the wrong right order. So like it isn't like it got flipped around or something. It's like the first page is 675 and then it's 674. So if it was just flipped around, you would expect it to be 674, 675, then 672, 673. You know, kind of that jumping back and forth. No, it is just flipped around in some miraculous way.
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
When it's mine and I never let it go because I laugh at it and find it amusing.
It's unique. Next. So this one is from Trailblades to you, Dusty.
What?
He says, I remember you watched Ruby. What would your weapon be as I may draw it?
What would my weapon be? Oh. My weapon would be something akin to a Viking axe, bearded that also was an M16 repeating rifle.
What is Ruby?
Anime.
Ruby is an anime
Ah!
that came out a while ago, and every character built their own weapon, and it's part bludgeon, part gun, part awesome. So I would think mine would be a giant bearded Viking axe that was also turned into an M16. That'd be cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
I've seen the weapons on that show.
Yeah,
and
they're
they're
crazy
crazy.
awesome. Yep.
Yeah.
Love it.
Let's see. Yeah. Oh, so this is from Whoalicious for you, Pen. Been a couple odd stories in MLP lately, episode 100, dreams, etc. Have you ever just wanted to go nuts with a story in this way?
The issue about going nuts in a story in that way is it gets bogged down by all the visual details that kind of have to be done for it to really be that level of nuts like the show can get away with because it's a visual medium. I've tried that a couple times before, like trying to bring as much of Discord's antics into a story, and I've gotten a few complaints from readers like, oh, this part's bogged down because I'm trying to spend too much time breathing Discord's visual gags into a written context. So it's difficult, but I still have stories where I kind of just have my fun. Little Sugar Shop of Horror was one where I was just having my fun, and to a degree as well, the experiments in alicorn growth, which was kind of a live stream on request. Let's just have fun with it kind of story. Didn't even get cover art done for that one. That one was just silly. But yeah.
Cool.
So.
Kitty.
So this is for Dirty K for you, Dusty. If you're since you're going to BronyCon, would you like me to try to bring you a Swedish apple pie?
Don't go way out of your way to bring me an apple pie, dude. Okay, just don't, because traveling with an apple pie just would be too much.
I'd say you should just eat it there.
Share the bounty.
Share the bounty. You know, if you want to bring an apple pie, we'll all eat it. But it's like you don't have to bring it just for me. So it's kind of hard to travel with food. But if you want to bring it, we'll eat it. It'd be cool. So.
Unless you save it for the TSA person that cheeses you off.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like, here, you've ruined my day, but I hope you
enjoy
yours. Have an apple pie.
And with that,
throw it in their face.
Screwball,
The two.
Screwy.
Oh boy.
I know.
Yeah.
And we're at that point. We're at that point in the show where the guest gets to ask me and Screwball a question.
Doom, doom,
Doom.
doom. First, I'll admit, I forgot about this part of the show. So, but you're not going to get off the hook.
Okay.
No, no, no.
So,
I am going to ask you, since this is a talk of fan fiction and whatnot,
yes.
What is there a story you've read that you remember particularly for it making you mad?
Ooh. Really?
Because I have a story. It was the second in Terry Brooks' sort of Shannara series that made me rage quit at the end because of how things happened. It's like it was really well written.
Right.
It was a really engaging story. I still rage quit. So,
you know, the only fan fictions that I've really rage quit are the ones I can't read. The ones that are written so poorly that sentence structure is so bad that you can't read them. That's the only ones I've ever rage quit because I really like to read. So even if the story's a little slow, I'll still give it the time of day and I'll read it to a point where maybe I'll get bored of it because it's slow and then I'll go away from it. If it comes up and puts in a new chapter, I'll give it another chance because everyone's learning to write, right? But if I pick up a story and go, oh, there's a really great Rainbow Dash concept right there, I'm going to start reading that. But if I get to like the first 400 words and I can't understand what's going on, I just stop. Because it's too hard to read. So that's the only time I've ever like rage quit. But I don't get mad about it. It's just that, oh well, okay, well that just didn't work out, and I move on to the next story. I don't think I've ever rage quit from a book. I don't think I ever have. But then I'm not a writer, so I don't have that fire in my belly for bad writing, I guess. What about you, Screwy?
You can kill me for this one. I don't really read fanfics.
Well, yeah, but okay. So any book you've ever read,
or any show. Let's broaden it to anything.
Broaden it.
Yeah.
Anything?
Yeah. Anything.
Show that really pisses me off. Ticks me off. It would have to be Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Okay.
I cannot stand that show because it's I call it jerk humor. I could say a vulgar version, but I won't. But basically, they act like jerks, and people somehow find that funny.
Yeah.
And I do not. I find it incredibly annoying, and it's just not my thing. That's my opinion. If you're,
I have to agree with Screwy on this one. I don't like jerk humor. I don't like
I just
any of that stuff.
Strokes.
It's like it's just that doesn't make me. That's not funny. That's just rude.
Yes.
I don't like it.
Yeah,
It's
I don't know. And plus, they're overly the top stupid.
Yeah.
Like
what was that movie? Borat. Couldn't stand that movie. Couldn't stand it.
I haven't seen it in so long. I can't remember a single thing about it.
It's just stupid. Yeah, didn't like it. Waste of film. And with that, we're at the end of the program. So, I want to tell you guys about our t-shirt, of course. You know that we have a t-shirt out there in the wild. And this is the print by the lovely Sabrina Abayetti right there. So, if you like t-shirts and you like her art, you can go over to redbubble.com, stay Brony as one word, stay Brony, and you'll find this print plus everything that Trish has done for us, and all there. So you can get stickers, you can get iPad cases, you can get t-shirts, you can get hoodies, you can get anything you want over at redbubble.com with this stuff on it. Thank you very much for supporting the show, and every now and then I get a ding, you've sold a t-shirt, yay! And I go, oh, that's awesome. It's cool. Make it ding. And also, our sponsor, of course, is Little's Toy Company, right there. They send us really great things to give to you guys. So if you need a vinyl or you need anything else, go to their website, Little's Toy Company, on the web, and order yourself your pony swag from Little's Toy Company. Thank you very much for sponsoring the program, and more stuff will be coming soon. Screwy. Another 2 weeks. Another 2 weeks.
Oh, I'm so excited for 2 weeks because I'm going to be out seeing my family.
Out seeing your family right after the next show. And who do you think our next guest is?
I have not the slightest idea.
You don't have the slightest idea, do you?
No, I do not.
No, because I always keep in the dark, people.
Oh, yes.
Our next guest is one Nick Conflone, who wrote Party Pooped this season. So Nick is a new writer on the series.
Ooh,
yes,
that's going to be
wrote Party
cool.
Pooped. So we actually asked him, why are yaks such jerks? Basically, why did you write yaks
I know
as
the
such
answer
jerks?
to that. I got some over the under the what is it? The grapevine.
The grapevine,
and I know why he wrote it.
Because they're bipolar. That's why. Wow.
He's hilarious. I can't wait for that.
He is hilarious. He's been an award-winning Vine guy. He's done award-winning Vine movies. So he's also done stand-up comedy. So hopefully we'll get some stuff out of him. It's going to be great. He's very excited to be on the show. In 2 weeks' time, we'll have Nick. And then that is the last show before BronyCon, and we'll all see you at BronyCon at the time. So really close. We're coming up, and all of that. So thank you very much. Goes out to Penstroke.
Glad to be on. Glad to be on.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you.
Of course, Screwball for everything he does. Amy for making that wonderful meatloaf tonight. I can't wait to sink my teeth into that meat loaf. Lance Bubala, who just got home from work. He's over there. Lance, who does everything for us. There he is. And, of course, Brian, who's in the house, doing everything that he does for us. And Bash Script and everybody over there at Canterlot Hill, who keeps the site going, gives us a place to go and a place to put it up so you guys can come watch us. Everybody out there who comes every time we turn that camera on and make fools of ourselves. Every time. You guys come, watch us, be goofy. And it's so much fun. Thank you very much for coming and giving us a reason to be goofballs. and bring you wonderful guests like Penn and Nick and all these people that love to come and talk to you. So with that, 2 weeks, Nick Confalone, and we're out. So say goodbye, everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. See ya.
Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We hate to leave you, but we'll be back soon. Good night, sweetheart. Good night. Good night, sweetheart. Good night.